那我们最开始先请就是今天的语坛人先跟各位介绍一下他们自己。So we'll do a quick introduction, like for each one of you to like introduce yourself, what are you working on, and what are you working on right now, if you can talk about it, and where do you come from, this kind of thing. Maybe you start?
Sure.
I'm Dylan Hunt. I made Throne of Lies, and I currently live in Taiwan, and I've been here for maybe 4 or 5 years. I'm originally from California. I studied in Hawaii. So I made Throne of Lies, the online game of Deceit, which is an online multiplayer game, and pretty much you have a bunch of good guys together, and there's bad guys among you. You have to find them, kill them. That's how you do it.
人狼类的游戏。
And other than that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's okay. Okay, yeah, we'll get back to you. We have more questions than that.
Hey, I'm Jonas. I'm a programmer. I was working on Subnautica, underwater adventure game for PC and consoles. A colleague of mine is here right now. He's also a programmer. I also live in Taiwan. I've been here for a year, a little bit over a year now. It's really nice. Our current project, Subnautica came out a year ago, and our current project is a follow-up game called Subnautica Below Zero, but it's very similar to this one.
It's a separate game. It's not DLC, right?
We think of it as a standalone expansion because we don't want to call it Subnautica 2.
Right.
It's more like Subnautica 1.5 or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it is not a DLC. Right. And I'm originally from Germany.
Hello, I'm Fernando. I've been in Taiwan for 3 years now. I'm working on a multiplayer space combat game. Think of it like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter kind of thing. And I'm originally from the United States, but grew up in Germany actually. And yeah, I think I went to school at the University of Texas, Austin. Computer science is sort of my technical background. And I've been working on this game for quite a while, but it's not out yet. Soon though.
How long? How long? Can you
At least 6 years. I think it's getting closer to 7 maybe. I have to calculate it. But yeah, a long time.
Like full-time or anything?
Full time.
Wow.
And all the time you have been in Taiwan, right? Like
3.5 years of it in Taiwan, because we came here for half a year, left, and came back.
Oh, okay.
So most of it in Taiwan actually.
Okay, nice. Okay, since like Ed isn't here yet, so there is another. 就我们还有另外一个讲者，现在应该是可能是刚。
Is it on?
Yeah, I think it's on. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. It ducks in and out.
Yeah. Alright. 对，那我们还有一位就是语坛人，那就是等他来的时候，我们再请他再来致介。那所以我下一个问题想要请教他们的是，就是说因为他们都有各自不同的背景，那想说就是也是来台湾也是一段时间，那他们自己在原本的国家或是社群，他们在那边看到的跟在这边看到有什么不一样？这样。So my next question is that what was your expectation of the game development scene in Taiwan, and like before and after you came here, like when before you actually like thinking of like doing a long stay or try to settle down in Taiwan, like did you expect there is a game development scene that you want to participate in, and like what your what your expectation was, and did it change after you actually settled down here? And also like maybe we can talk about like the differences that you see from all like other parts of the world. Okay, you can start.
No, Ed just arrived.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just in time for his.
Just that. Okay, so
Yay!
yay!
Definitely didn't get lost. Definitely never been here before.
No, Ed has been here like for many times.
Should we let him introduce himself?
Yeah, but I think please.
Hi, I'm Ed. I'm a game developer. I just moved here. I'm making a Japanese style RPG and doing contract stuff as well. So, hi.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, we'll get back to you. So it's all about how about you start with like the last question.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't have much of an idea, really no idea what the dev scene would be like in Taiwan. The only dev scene I really know, and honestly I don't know it that well because I've always been a bit of a hermit. I think I know the Taiwan better was back in Austin, Texas. You know, I assumed that there was one, and you know, Taiwan's a big country, so, and Taipei is the capital, so. But until my wife sort of got me to leave the house, I really had no clue to what it was like. Now, to compare the two though, you know, I was pleasantly surprised. I think that I feel more comfortable in the Taiwan dev scene than I did in Austin. You know, I love Austin, so if anybody hears it, my friends back home, I love it. You know, I was there since '96, you know, so I have a lot of roots there. But I think in Taiwan, people are extremely friendly, and I felt everybody really approachable here. You know, I have a big handicap that I don't speak Mandarin pretty much at all, but without Amanda translating for me. But a lot of people speak English, and even when people didn't speak English, you know, they really went out of their way to talk to me and to connect. So my experience has been really great, actually, and I've been a lot, you know, every month, you know, since I work from home, I think a lot of us probably do, if not all of us. You know, it's every time there's some indie meetup, you know, every month I always make sure I go there because it really helps a lot, even if you have communications barriers, just to be with other people who are going through what you're going through and to talk about. And also, before that, the only real socialization that I did was through Discord, so it's been a big help. And actually my game has, you know, gotten a lot of good ideas from talking to people here in Taiwan. So it's been really great. So I'm really happy to be a part of the community.
So what was? Do you know even or any game that you think is from Taiwan before you come here?
Before I came here, honestly, no. I know now, but no, I did not. Maybe some game that I played was from here, and I didn't realize it was from Taiwan. You know, a lot of times it's easy to remember the game, but hard to remember who the developer was and let alone where they're from. But no, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Got it. So how about Jonas?
That's difficult to follow up, but very true. So before I came here, I was working from home and traveling at the same time. So I was just a digital nomad, and I was traveling around the world for about 4 years. And I've lived in a lot of different countries. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to connect with any indie scene in any other country, but here it was very, very easy. The only other indie scene is that I know of are in Germany and in California, because our office is in California, so I tend to spend a good amount of time there. And of course, in San Francisco there are lots and lots of indies, but where I come from in Germany, there are basically none, and game development is not a thing because it's not like a proper job, right? And games are for kids.
So that situation is in Germany too.
Yeah.
Like people think if you're a programmer, you should do business programs.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a very startup unfriendly culture in Germany. It's very, very difficult to create a company. It needs a lot of money and lawyers and all that stuff. And then once you have a company, and you hire someone, it's very, very difficult to fire that person. And you have to pay them a lot of money, and so it's like if you have any kind of risk in your startup, and that's what startups are about, right? Then Germany is a terrible place. And and we also have laws that we just don't accept certain jobs. Like you simply cannot be that job because it's not on the list of acceptable jobs to be, right? So in Germany we really only have like one. We used to have one big game studio, which was Crytek. They are doing Far Cry. You might have heard of that, but I'm not sure if they are around anymore or if they closed down. And then we had a few like web game developers, right? And maybe they transitioned now to mobile, but we never really had a proper like computer game or console game industry at all, which is really weird.
Maybe Germans are too practical.
I think they are just too locked up in old ways.
Okay.
Yeah, like new things are not good in Europe. Like we have a different kind of thinking.
But I have a follow-up with that though.
Yeah.
Like, but Gamescom is in Germany.
Yes, exactly. Yes, the biggest games convention in the world. I
Yeah,
think,
in the world.
is
You guys
in
like-
Germany, right?
You guys like board games, though, right?
And board games are super huge in Germany.
Oh, yeah, Euro games. Because
Euro games, yeah.
Great
Euro
designers,
games.
too.
Yeah, like you've probably played the Settlers of Catan, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a German game, and like actually most of these style of games are from Germany. So there is like an indie board game scene, I guess, or I'm not sure if they are indie because it's literally just 5 guys, and it's always the same 5 guys, and they make all the games. But yeah, for computer games, it's just terrible.
Wow.
There's one really big one
Interesting.
in space, the X series, and they kind of kept space games alive.
Oh, so
Ergo Software is an
Oh, right.
company.
So there's one funny thing going on in parts of like in Europe. So Germany is a little bit part of that, which is like in Sweden they make these deep like simulator type of games, right? Like all the what's the publisher Pandora? No,
Paradox.
Paradox, yeah, Paradox Interactive, right? And they make a certain type of game that is like strategy, turn-based something, or X games, or and so there are some niches of games that we do make in Europe.
This right, X
That's
series, yeah.
I think maybe also Farm Simulator. I think that's also.
Farm Simulator is actually from
Oh,
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and they are doing quite well, right? And then there's, I think, Euro Truck Simulator, and I'm not sure if that comes from Poland or something. Factorio comes from Poland, or
Yeah,
Czech Republic.
Check. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
serious game.
So it's basically Germany is sitting in the middle of Europe, and like France is doing well, and Poland is doing well, and Sweden is doing well, and Switzerland is doing well, right? And they are all making games, and we don't, but we sit in the middle. So Gamescom is where.
But they all come to your country.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Gamescom.
And of course it's a big market, right? Like
Yeah.
Germans buy a lot of games.
Right.
So yeah, but the point that I'm trying to make is once I came here, Subnautica just came out, and I was like, okay, I should probably take what I learned in Subnautica and go to like conferences and talk a little bit about that. And I googled, and I found the first thing I found was TGDF. So I had no idea what that is. I wrote an email, I submitted my talk, and from there it just snowballed because TGDF was so good.
Thank you, man.
I think TGDF was my first like talk conference, and after that I was in lots of other conferences. None of them was as good as TGDF.
Okay.
You got something really good here. Treasure it. I should stop talking.
So I've lived in Taiwan for a few years now, and before I came up here, I didn't really think about making a game specifically for the Taiwan region or Eastern, so to say, localizations. I just thought everyone's just doing mobile these days, and over time I realized that although it is a large market, I was also very wrong. There's still a lot of people that do PC. You know, you have the gaming centers all over the place, and I had one, by the way, and I made the first one in South Carolina a long time ago, and so I'm very interested in these. You know, people don't go there and they play mobile games together, they play PC games. And so, yeah, the market's still very big here, and especially in not just Taiwan, but China too. You know, you see Tencent that has 250 million people in one locale, which is pretty wild compared to Steam that has a scattered locale of 125 million. And so, yeah, the scene is pretty big here, all over this place. And anyway, in Taiwan, we recently started translating our game to traditional Chinese. And this was only recently because some people from Taiwan started playing our game. We saw them streaming on Twitch. And we see this and we suddenly noticed that these people are playing our game. It's completely in English. They're talking in Chinese. They have this whole, like, their own custom-made wiki that they made with just all the translations and stuff. And so these, you know, Taiwanese people are very passionate about this stuff. And we started translating, and you know, we're collaborating with some of these people, and everyone's just so nice, and they just want the game in Chinese, and they're even happy to play it while it's still in English. So that's really surprised me. So yeah, that's where we are at right now. Is we want to get the game out for Eastern culture, and spread the word.
So I think one point you bring up is that Taiwan, like a lot of people speaking like Mandarin or Chinese on the Thronefly servers. I think maybe one aspect of that is that actually I think we have a lot of like board game players and board game developers here too, and like Werewolf kind of game is like originated from those, right?
Yeah, the werewolf mafia genre itself was originally came from Russia. Is the farthest back in my research that I could find.
Mm-hmm.
And so from Russia, it went to the east. And so what's funny about my game is that in Europe and United States, Australia, I have to really deeply explain what my game is because it's a tabletop game in disguise. And this genre is still very niche, anyway, in this locale. But in the Eastern locale, it's not niche at all, and I had no idea. Apparently, there's like, you know, there's some games that have, you know, millions of downloads and of this genre. Like, I just need to tell people like one sentence about the game. Like, oh, I know that genre, I know that genre. Like, how's it even possible? And so I was very shocked and of course pleased to hear this. And so as soon as I learned about this stuff, I should have researched it earlier. But yeah, we're trying to get it out there.
Okay, nice. And guess maybe next, like Ed can follow up with, like what was your expectations about Taiwan or the game scene here before you came here and like after you came here? Like what were you doing back in UK and things like that?
Okay.
So when I was in the UK, I used to work for a studio, and then called Mediatonic, who make a bunch of like mobile stuff and they've done some console stuff. I was a server engineer there, so I built like, you know, the server-side systems for multiplayer games and things. Then I met my now wife, who is Taiwanese, and I came to visit her. I think that was maybe
Like 2 years ago?
that was 3 years ago. Did I come to here then? I don't think I did. I think that was later. Anyway, so I used up all my holiday seeing her, and then to see her again, like less than a year later, and have to wait for my vacation time from work. I quit my job to work, like spend my savings working full time on like my then hobby project, which is Jack Move, my Japanese style RPG, And then I kept coming back here for like longer stretches, and then yeah, came here, met Johnson and stuff. I think my expectation before I came was that there wasn't much of an indie scene, and that's purely because I had a friend who worked in games, who lived in Taiwan maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and then he left because I don't think the scene at that time, I don't think there were that many game developers maybe, or I don't know. That's the impression I got from him anyway. It might have been
I
wrong
think
there.
maybe the difficulty maybe lies in the fact that it's hard for like maybe foreign game developers to get connected to the locals at first, because like
Yeah, maybe.
you know, it's like we really didn't reach out to the like the game developers who are living in Taiwan right now, maybe since
Yeah, I mean,
just a few years ago.
yeah, like he had
Like,
He worked at
studio, and
and in studio, I think it's kind of it tend to be a very closed environment for big
Yeah.
companies in Taiwan.
yeah,
So
I
like
think
most
that's the same in a lot of places as well. Like
Yeah,
in
but-
my
in my hometown.
town, there's
Mhm.
like, you know, there's loads of indie developers. I come from Brighton in the UK. There's a lot of bigger studios, and I used to run like an indie meetup there, and you would get all the indie developers would come, but people from the bigger studios would just, you know, stick to themselves,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't like really socialize outside of their company.
Mhm. So we get like because I know UK has a pretty big indie scene too, right?
Yes.
And Austin too. Yeah, I forgot to ask. Is like any game developers in Hawaii though?
Game developers.
Yeah.
Game developers in Hawaii. When I lived in Hawaii, I was mostly doing things for games instead of making my own games. So I would do everything surrounding actual game development. So I used to do stuff for like cyber cafe software and such. So I'm sort of unfamiliar, but the one that, you know, I was very interested in eventually making a game. So I did keep my eye out, and I did not see a single game developer that during my stay, and I was there for years. So I think the indie developer scene in Hawaii is pretty small, unless it's changed since I moved to Taiwan.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I just was just like interested in like what's the situation in like every like from your all your like where you came from basically. Okay. So I guess starting from the next questions, we are going to talk a little bit more about like the actual game development challenges that like maybe you faced before, things like that. So 我接下来会想要问的问题，就是我们有列几个问题，那其中其实有一个会跟其实蛮多独立开发者都会遇到一样的状况，就是说，比如你是一个刚开始做第一款游戏的开发者，那你要怎么样去找到你的第一个玩家族群，或者是说你已经找到你觉得你已经找到一个市场，可是你要怎么样用有限的人力去跟这些人互动之类的。所以我觉得就是这个是我接下来想要问的，因为其实他们在做的游戏里面有蛮多，其实也是这个多人类型的游戏。So my next question is, we like sort of like discussed this on the Discord before. So it's about like the discussion about how indie game developers, like, or maybe yourselves, like how do you engage with your communities? And like I think most of you utilize Discord right now because I think Discord really is a very great platform, and I think we can have a comparison between you guys, like what did you do and what you didn't do, and this is how I do it, this kind of thing. So I guess maybe we can start from Jonas.
Sure.
What we didn't do was spend any money. So we've been around for a very long time, like 15 years or something. I mean the studio that I'm working for, right? and we tend to take a long time to make a single game. So in those 15 years we made 3 games, like 2.5 actually. And the way we work is we try to put as many information about what we are doing out there. Like we put our daily task board, like we use Trello to do task tracking. We put that public, and we put our concept art public. We put our daily builds public. You can play them on Steam, right? So we make our check-in messages public. They go to Twitter, and by just being very open as a studio, we give lots of people the opportunity to create something around what we are doing, like make entertainment out of our process of making a game. So we are seeing lots of people from the community like writing the wiki for us, or translating the game for us, or doing tech support for us on the forums if someone has a problem, or if someone comes and is not happy, they help that person maybe solve that problem. So we have a really big and very helpful, friendly community, and I think the reason why we do have that is because we are so transparent and open about everything we do, and we have a really good community manager guy who keeps it very positive.
So, I'll like summarize this in Mandarin. Okay, so 就是他们的公司Unknown World Entertainment 其实之前做过就是 Natural Selection 系列，然后其实那个就已经是好多年以前的作品，那后来才又大概用同样的开发方式。他们其实有之前在 GDC 有讲过，就他们的算是制作人有在 GDC 讲过一个叫做 Open Development 的演讲，那就那个时候是在讲 Natural Selection 2，那后来他们也出了 Subnautica， 跟现在是出 Below Zero 这样。那我接下来比较好奇的是，就是他们当初最早，因为其实我觉得比较重要的是，你一开始怎么知道你要去 engage 特定的某一群人，这样子的面向？因为我想说，如果你已经有一个蛮大的玩家支持者群的话，其实理论上你后续要做什么事情是相对简单一些。So I guess my follow-up question is that how did you like first engage the first group of people? Maybe they play Natural Selection 1 as a mod of Half-Life, and they play Natural Selection 2.
Right.
Like did that community build up and carry over to the next game?
Right. That's a good question. So the very first game you just mentioned is Natural Selection 1, which was a free mod for Half-Life. That was a competitive aliens vs Marines kind of shooter. And then that mod was so popular that the people who made it decided to start a company and make that mod as a standalone product. And that was called Natural Selection 2. It was basically the same, but now as a standalone product and for money, right? And I'm sure that a good amount of the community that played the first game came in and then bought the second game, right? However, when we put Subnautica out there on early access, that did not happen again. Like we had a big community from Natural Selection 2. They were not interested in Subnautica at all, and it kind of makes sense because Natural Selection is a competitive multiplayer shooter. Subnautica is a single-player adventure diving game. Like there's very little overlap in taste, right? So only like super fans of our studio itself came over, but those are very, very rare. Like most people like your games, they don't really like your studio. So we kind of had to start over with Subnautica. Yeah. And that took a long time, right? Like when we launched.
How long was you were in early access?
It was in early access 3 years.
3 years for early
Yes,
access.
yes.
Okay.
And the launch on early access was terrible. Like we wanted to have, I think, between 10,000 or 10 to 50,000 sales. That was our like early access launch goal, and I don't think we had hit 10,000. And then 3 years later, we sold a total of like 2 million, right? So our early access launch compared to our final release, like all the sales that we made in between, was totally nothing. And the community built up over time, very, very slowly. Right.
So like the big surge of sales is basically very close to the actual release of the
No,
game?
no. Our graph looks completely stable, like over time.
Oh, so just
Like every single month, 5,000 people buy the game.
Okay.
Basically, right? And it just keeps going, and there's no end in sight.
Oh, that's good. So you don't see like maybe they are like stopping or like long tail right now. It's just a very steady.
It's very, very steady, yeah. Because
Wow.
we were releasing an update every single month, right? Like a big proper update, and we make a website about it, and there's some new cool feature in it. And so what happens every time we make an update, we see a spike in our sales, and then there's the tail starting, right? And then next month is spike and tail, and spike and tail. And because our update frequency is so high, it never really goes like totally down. It keeps at a pretty consistent level.
I see.
Yeah.
Can Dylan also like say something about this?
Yeah, for throwing, are you talking about the sales curve right now? In regards to the sales curve.
Or maybe like how did you start it? I know you actually talked about this, you know.
Oh, in the last time,
Yeah,
yeah.
last time. But
Okay,
you
yeah.
can like briefly talk about that again.
I've learned some new things.
Okay.
Alright, so everything we funnel to Discord, and we have a ramen noodles budget, and so you know, what can you do except to bring everything to Discord? And so when Discord came out, I was one of the first to realize that, oh man, this is like the ideal platform. It has everything, it has voice, chat, permissions. We use it for both community and dev collaboration too. It's just a beautiful platform. And so everything that you do, every announcement you make, every landing page that you have, you funnel it to Discord. And so you don't want to list all of your links, which some people do. Lots of times you just want to put 1 or 2 links, so maybe the link to your game and the link to your Discord. And in your Discord, that's where you can have your whole list of things, because they're in your Discord, they're where you want them. So then, you know, make sure it's funneled there. And make sure that your welcome page in Discord, you know, like where your invite link goes to, make sure it has a whole bunch of the most important things you want them to do. Like, don't just throw them in general chat. They'll get overwhelmed, and they won't see what you want them to see. And most of the time, it's the important links, and it's the little social sites or extras. You want to point them to news. So what we do is we like to use discord.js API, and we run it on our Node server, and it's just self-hosted. We use DigitalOcean, and it's really easy to set up. They have good documentation, and so we use our bot very often for engagement. And so we actually use Discord with in-game integration as well. And so you know, in-game we'll try to pull people into Discord too. You know, it'll show how many people are there. There'll be a Discord button, and you know, in beta we didn't have enough players. Like it takes 16 players to make a game, and so in alpha, beta, we were lucky to get 8, which is our minimum. And so what we would do is we'd use our bot to announce. So whenever someone queued up for the game, you can imagine that there's only like maybe 5 to 15 people on at a time back then. And so then it would ping Discord. You could join a role and be pingable whenever someone is together in matchmaking. And so after that, people could, you know, the bot would say, hey guys, everyone join up, join this rank to be pinged for the future. And so it'd show like a little embed. It'd show how many players are there, and it'd like really, as the players go up to the minimum, it would start hyping people up. And so, we'd use like little, Unicode emojis, and it's like almost there, just one more, and it'd be out and all bold. And so, it'd actually have a link where you can make a Steam link. I forgot how it is offhand, but you can Google it. You can make it a link so it'll launch your application via your app ID. And so that was really useful too. So you just click it, and if it's installed, it will launch the game. And another thing we did later on is we made it so that it would go to a special link where it would detect if you have Discord, Steam running. If so, it would launch the game, and if not, it would bring you to the store page. So it was a really useful bot, which eventually got really annoying later once we got tons of people and we were out of beta. So we had to kill that feature off, but it's still dormant. Anything you can do to engage. We have an overwhelming amount of channels, which we keep trying to shorten it, but we realize they all serve its purpose once you have a certain amount of people. So eventually, what we do is we have achievement section. So we don't have time for Steam achievements yet. It's a planned feature, but if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. You got to have hundreds, and that's you got to have your stat system perfectly set up. So what we can do is the lazy way, the temporary way, is to make an achievements channel in Discord. And so we say, hey, if you have 500 hours played, we will give you a special colored role. If you have 1,000 hours played, we'll give you like a shinier role. And we just have
Discord know that information through the API too?
No, this one we actually do manually, but it's not bad. Okay. And we just say you have to have we just verify it through a public profile.
Oh, okay.
And if they're not public profile, we say that you can either
take a screenshot or something.
You can not screenshot, but we say that you either have to set it public so we can see that you have 500 hours, or you can link to your review. One or the other will work. We prioritize the first one to show that we're, to make sure that we're not biased for reviews. So that seems to be working pretty well. What else for engagement? We have a feedback and bugs channel. This is really good. We set up the bot so that anytime somebody posts there, we have like a cooldown to make sure you don't spam it. Then the bot will put a thumbs up, thumbs down, and all the other emojis we have disabled. So, so people can vote on these ideas and bugs. If they've experienced it, they can thumbs up. And over time, we realize that some people will like spam thumbs down on people. So we made it sort of Facebook-like, where it's only thumbs up. But if you can handle the feedback, you can type in #debate. And if you do that, then the thumbs down will show. Yeah, so that seems to be working really well. So that way, if they truly want negative and positive, unbiased feedback, that works really well. And that's been really awesome, because you can't implement every feature. You want to, but it's impossible. So you want to go with people where it might seem like a good idea, but maybe only you think it's a good idea, and maybe only they think it's a good idea, and no one else likes the idea.
Okay.
So the emoji thumbs up down count really assists on this matter. Yeah, and Discord, what you can do is, as well, is if you're not an official game yet, make a memorable short URL. It's really easy to set a short URL service. Like ours is toli.es, so you can just do something really short.
I thought you have to be partnered so that it can have the. Am I right?
For the official one, yeah, you do have to be partnered. So like our partner link is discord.gg/tol. But in the early days, I had my own short URL service, sort of like Bitly or Google's old one that they discontinued.
Okay, yeah.
You can make your own and then just put /Discord, so that way everyone remembers it, because you want people to always remember easily where it is and where you want everyone to join. So you want them to be able to tell their friends with like knowing the link by heart, where it's something easily memorable. You don't want them to have to look, because if they get distracted for even 1 second, then that person will never join.
I see. Okay. 那问一下，现场有多少人的 Discord 是已经有，就是像用这种工具去做游戏联动？ 还没有啊，应该先问一下，有人是做multiplayer 游戏的吗？就是会需要，比如说要揪团的，还是说要开台的那一种
Fernando.
？OK， 一个。Yeah, so maybe I guess Fernando actually can follow up with Dylan because I think you guys have almost the same situation when you start out, like when you're in the alpha version, right? You need to ping people in channel, this kind of thing, to actually get people to join your game.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe like.
So I'll talk about how my experience has been with Discord or what I've done to.
Or maybe how
build a
how
community.
how
I think in the early
engage
days, what'd you do
Yeah.
to get
So,
players?
I'm still.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume my community is probably a lot smaller. I know it's a lot smaller. Subnautica is like 37,000 or something,
Well,
and game.
I think it's 50 now.
It just grew, yeah. Another 5,000 at least while we were here. And Throne of Lies, how big is your community?
14,000.
Yeah, 14,000. I'm just a tiny little 280. But my experience, so I started, 6 years ago. When I started, well, of course, Discord didn't exist. And at the very beginning, it was just, friends getting over to my house, sitting on the sofa, on the computer. It was a multiplayer game from the beginning. It's changed a lot, but it's always been a multiplayer shooter of some form. And we just get together on wireless keyboards, gamepads, and play over the local LAN. Eventually, after many times, my number one, Gerald, who's still with me, a very good friend of mine who's been playing since day one, he said, "Get this out there." He was like, "Release it, launch it, release it." And so he encouraged me. I did a teaser trailer a couple years ago. I set up a website, set up forums, sent out emails to the press. And crickets chirping. I was very fortunate that Joystick, it was literally like the day before they closed that website. They covered my video, and I got a lot of people viewing it from there. Mainly a lot of people being puzzled, but so if you look, you should look up the old video because it looks nothing what it looks like right now. Just type
Can I just type joystick?
Joystick is closed. But if you type, you can.
This one, right?
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and type Hunternet going to the trailers, you'll see the old trailer. But anyways, so that got it went from like nothing to several thousand views.
Which one?
Just type like Hunternet going to the trailers.
Hunternet
Going to the trailers.
This?
Going to the trailers. Yep. This is a different video, but it's probably the easiest way to find it. So there's the real one. Yeah, that one. Somebody copied it in. Yeah.
So this one.
Yeah. Game trailers also covered it, but there's not the one with thousands of views is a different one. But I'll show you the video. But anyways, my goal was to get people to play the game. I did a Twitch stream and everything, and I went and posted in different forums. If you skip a little bit forward, you'll see. You can see it. Yeah, that's the video right there.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep, and I set up that website. So what did that accomplish? I got some interesting feedbacks, and
like this is nothing like the game right now. This
no,
is nothing like.
nothing.
这跟现在完全不一样。
There's a baby.
What is that?
Disco balls. Yeah. This is actually a funny video because it's these guys that work for one of the big sites. I don't know who it was that did a series, and they did Halo and they did some other big games besides mine. And they reviewed. But anyways, and then I went since I was for the teaser. It's basically those are players spawning. All those things you're seeing from the sky, and it's the server spawning 700 players all in one instance.
You were doing Battle Royale before Battle Royale.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all. 7 times what Fortnite does, 6 years ago, with crazy physics and portals to different areas and all sorts of crazy. You can climb like Spider-Man, swing like the Titanfall. Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Cool.
That's a swing.
Yeah, well, I realized I haven't showed like your game on screen
Yeah.
right now. I should show that.
Yeah, you can look at it. But and I mentioned like bigger battles than any MMO FPS. So I got a lot of like fans of PlanetSide too. Saying, oh, but PlanetSide can do more players, and I say, but in the single battle, But anyway, so I got some. But I did manage to get a handful of people to join my community. And
完全不一样。
yes, now it's a it's got a now it's like Star Wars space theme. But you can still see some of the weirdness in that third image where there's a top-down view and you're in tunnels fighting monsters. That's not in the current game, but that top-down view is still in there. It's just disabled.
But basically, it has always been some kind of like super big multiplayer experience, right?
Yeah. It started out as a multiplayer shooter with giant monkey heads before the Kirby ball thing, and I over time I increased the number of players. The first test was actually Austin, Texas, to some business hotel in China. My brother-in-law was in China. We did the first network test. I built the network system from scratch. I had a background in programming and network programming in particular. So that was like, oh, nobody's doing an indie multiplayer game. Let me do an indie multiplayer game. The reason nobody does indie multiplayer because they all fail. But so there's this curse of the multiplayer game. But over time, I slowly I'm a performance junkie, so I kept working on let's make it more scalable. I didn't have 700 people to play with, so I rented a bunch of machines to do that test. But I did get a small group of people, including a guy from New Zealand who was into PlanetSide 1, and he didn't like PlanetSide 2, so he's going to play this game instead of PlanetSide 2. And I had a lady from MMO Massively OP who really liked it, who was one who wrote the article, and I need to talk to her again years later. And I will say one funny thing. I got a comment from some guy on Twitter that had like hundreds of thousands of followers. I think he did the music for Minecraft, and it was him and his friends just making fun of the game, saying, "Oh, what's the point of so many players? What's the point of having a factory that can make."
417?
Yeah, I shouldn't say that, but but we ended up making friends. But yeah, it had some highs and some lows, but at the end of the day, I was glad I got out of my shell and put the game out there, even though the reception may not what I expected, but I really didn't know what I was doing. But I got those players to play, and while there was not a lot of them, they were very dedicated. They watched the stream, and I streamed for like over an hour. They joined the community, and they played for years. One of them is still a moderator in the current community, and they got me to see things from a new perspective and really help motivate me, because again, I mainly stayed at home. The next thing that really changed for the community was when I discovered Discord. And I did try like mailing lists, a lot of the traditional stuff, going to conventions, all that
because
stuff.
When you started, Discord is not around.
Yeah, Discord did not exist.
Yeah.
None of that stuff worked. Posting in forums, I did try, to reach out to people, but it really didn't work in any scalable manner. So it was just a handful of us. And then when Discord came out, creating Discord doesn't do anything, but what I did is I joined all the Discord servers I could find that had something to do with gaming. And they would have looking for game groups, and I would say, hey, anybody want to play Hunternet? I mean, it's a legitimate thing. And they'd say, yeah, what the heck is that? And I say, well, yeah, it's this game, check it out. And I would, eventually I'd say, it's my game, you want to play? And then, so I slowly collected people that way. And within a few weeks, the community like tripled in size from like 7 to, 30 or whatever, that's less, but it grew, and we got our first, and we got some really, and people were really interested, and they're really passionate. We had our first like 5 moderators from those early days, and they're still with me. Then the other really big kick that really helped grow the community is itch.io. When I was in Austin, I did go to Austin has a great indie development community. It's just bigger, and I think it's more intimidating maybe, but Adam Saltzman, really famous guy in the indie game community, he did a talk when he was working on Overland, and he talked about how he was going to do itch.io, and he was one of the first games on itch.io. itch.io did like an early access kind of thing, like first access, I think they called it.
First access.
And he was really promoting that, and he had seen the crazy trailer. So he knew about my game. So that was one good thing about the game being crazy, is that people who saw it would tend to remember you if you talk to them later.
Actually, we had Adam talking about Overland here. He was on the screen.
Yeah. He's since moved from Austin, but he was one of like the pinnacles of like one of the cores of the community, help organize things and things. But he gave a talk about HIO and how awesome it was. So that was a huge help, just knowing about it, because who knows how much later I would have found out about it. Once I got the game on HIO, then
It's free, right?
it's free. And I wasn't ready to go after, especially after that, and that was with that experience with people like being, what the heck is this? I didn't want to go on Steam and get, it's intimidating to go on Steam, right? People can be a little bit harsh. So HIO just sounded perfect. I put the game on HIO. Before putting on HIO, I changed the style to sci-fi, spaceship kind of thing, and I changed the gameplay a bit too. It was moving in that direction. It's sort of gradually morphed into a space game. And then HIO, it's been downloaded 16,000 times now, and every week, I haven't really advertised it because I'm kind of happy with the slow, steady growth. I don't want to be overwhelmed by managing more people than I have to before I'm ready. But I have Discord all over the game. Like there's a voice bot in the game that says, "Please join Discord and talk to my creator." Or when you fly in, there's like big Star Wars style letters. Come join us on Discord. When you go to the command screen, there's like a Discord. There's Discord everywhere. So I funnel everything through the Discord, and we get people joining Discord little by little, and then we use Discord we have a bot, we have multiple bots. One of our moderators working on the bot, advertises the streams, and and it's been without Discord and HIO it would have been a lot harder. Now I get plenty of feedback, and I have testers, and I feel it's been good.
I actually have a few more things to say about early Discord. So,
Okay.
really quickly, so Discord, I just triggered some memories right now. Two quick things, content creators. You have Twitch and YouTube are the main ones right now, and I think that we got successful because of Twitch players and YouTubers early in the day, but Twitch more than ever. And so these streamers, content creators, you want to pull them into your Discord. You want to spoil them too. You can give them some free keys. It shouldn't cost you anything, and give them more than one. So one for them, one for their friends, one to give away. And that has been a really big thing as well. And you invite them to your Discord, and you give them a special role, and you want to make them feel special, and because they are special, they're promoting your game. It's a nice win-win situation going on.
You actually have like 30 content creators online right now.
Yeah, we have over 100, well, maybe around almost exactly 100 known content creators in our Discord, and so we have this. We'll have a Discord content creator chat as well, where we can talk to them directly. We can ping them all at the same time and say, hey, we have this special promotion going on. They can collaborate with each other. Sometimes they'll have group ones where they'll voice chat with each other. So that really helps exposure, especially really early. And then the second thing that really helped us early to get people is Reddit. And Reddit, it's a very unique crowd. It'll take years to actually know how to talk properly to Redditors with the Reddit, so this is what they call it. And it's a very different way to talk to people. You can't just go out there and be like, say, hey, look at my game, it's awesome. Everyone will just, download it, you'll get negative karma, everyone will hate you, and a lot will delete your post. But once you get used to Reddit, it's a wonderful place. These are like real humans, and what's cool about this is early we had a free key giveaway called Veteran Status. So just before we launched, for 1 week, maybe it was 2 weeks, you can, we had a big, I think we used Gleam.io to give away our keys, and we just gave away just tons and tons of keys for this duration. And so if you post in the right places, you can Google giveaway sections, giveaway subreddits, and there's maybe about 5 or 6 that are pretty legit. There are bots watching it, and so if you get pretty popular in a post, a bot will pick it up. And do you guys use IFTTT? There are IFTTT bots that are watching these subreddits that will email your post to maybe 20, 30,000 people. And so all these people will get delivered the key. And so we had our huge first burst in Discord by an IFTTT bot triggering. And I didn't even know about it. I was signed up to get email alerts from this bot. That's how I knew. And I got an alert. I'm like, oh, wait a second, if I got alert, and you can go to ifttt.com, and if you look at the recipes, you can see how many people are subscribed to these recipes. And so the Reddit one for free key, it's very popular. I get free keys all the time. I think back then there were 18,000 people following it. And so now there's probably, it might be even like 80,000, 100,000 just for posting your free key giveaway. So that really helped us in the early days.
Steam giveaways.
Steam giveaways. Not all of these are the best ones, though. It's been a while since I used it. If you go to my favorite Reddit is reddit.com/r/gamedev, and they post all the time.
Is like pretty obvious.
Yeah, this one's pretty obvious, but if you forget the list of legit ones to give away,
they have a list here, right?
I am almost positive I saw a list here of the best giveaway ones. They have a really useful sidebar and some FAQs here. Somewhere.
Yeah, we'll try to find it.
You'll find it. You'll find it. If you search for it, you'll spend no longer than 5 minutes. You'll find it.
Okay. Okay, got it. So I guess actually I also want to like talk to Ed about this because I was like speaking Mandarin for a bit for a moment. 所以因为他们3个游戏刚好都是多的连线或是有 early access， 所以其实这样子的游戏的算是推广方式跟单人单机或者说那种有剧情主线的游戏，其实推广方式会很不一样。那我现在因为刚好我们最后一位就是刚进来的，就最后进来的这位讲者，他做的游戏跟我们刚好看到是一个 JRPG， 是一个 Cyberpunk JRPG， 那它就不是多人，它可能也没有 Early Access。那这样的情况下，就是状况很不一样。我想请教说他的想法是什么 ？Yeah, actually, I want to ask you, like, if you have any plans on, like, getting your game out there, right? Because, like, obviously, your game is different from, early access games or more like multiplayer games.
Yeah, it's not multiplayer. It's very story driven. So, I know you mentioned this recently, right? Don't worry about it, story driven. Just get it out there, get people playing it, and then you can work on those people's feedback about the story and stuff, and then improve it and make it better. But there's also like the fear of, like, oh, if I put it out and those people play it, and then you update it, they're not going to go back and play what they've already played over again, and like, it's I think it's a fear that I need to get over and just put whatever I have out, and not worry about it.
Okay. Here.
May I reply to that? Because
Sure.
I personally think that if your goal is to make the best possible game you can make, then the easiest way to get there is to get feedback from real people.
Yes.
And just because you give away the game for free, or just because you spoil it for some users, does not shrink your market, because the market is infinite. Right? There are how many 100 million people on Steam who buy games? We as indies will never hit that 100 million cap. Like, our game is pretty big for indie, and we hit 3 million. And I guarantee you there's another 3 million people out there who would buy the game if they only heard about it. Like no one's heard about your game, right? That's the number one problem. And the other problem is, are you working on the right stuff? So I truly believe that you just get more value out of putting it out there, being open and collecting the feedback and then working on that feedback, than you lose by spoiling it to some people, or because those people will now not buy your game, right? Like, how many keys did you give away?
We gave away probably about 1/3 of the activations are probably all giveaways, and every time you give away a key,
so it's more than 10,000, I guess.
Yeah, it's more than 10,000 keys that we've given away in total, and especially as an online game, if you want people to play with their friends. So when you give away a key to one person, and then they'll drag their friend in, and they'll drag their friend in. It's just a pyramid. So there, just like he said, there's infinite pool of people.
And I mean, that's a multiplayer game, yours is a single player game, but Dead Cells, they were here at TGDF, that's a single player game. They gave away 10,000 keys as well, right? And they sold 1 million additional copies. Like, it's not like you give away a key for free and then you lose. You print free money, and if you give the keys to the right people who have an audience, like the content creators, then it just snowballs. So question.
我想要补充。
哦，好。Good. Elsa has something to say.
This is my wife Elsa, the co-founder of Throne of Ice.
So we did a giveaway, really big giveaway last December, and we're working with content creator Yacast.
你可以用中文讲吗？
Yeah, I know, but I want to respect them too.
Yes.
So we give away a lot. Like we were even thinking about, damn, should we give that much, because they asked for so much, but in the end we decided to give away that much to Yacast, and it actually brings a lot of after
Yacast
effect.
is the YouTuber Yacast.
Yeah.
These people, right? Yeah, these people. Yeah.
He did that jingle jam in December giveaway.
Yeah, that's why we like.
How many
that
did they
much.
ask for?
I'm not sure if I don't think I can say the exact number, but it was more than 10,000 keys.
Just for the event?
Just for the event, yeah. It was tens of thousands of keys. But just because we give those away doesn't mean they're all going to use it.
Right.
And a lot of them will activate it and they'll just let it rot. I know. I haven't played half of my library, and but eventually they will. And the thing is, every time they see your game, it puts a seed in the back of their mind. It's just like, when you see Coca-Cola ads. Why do they spend so much money so that you could see it for 1 second? It's because eventually you'll think about it. And if you see like little hints and pieces of it, it'll remind you. It's just everything's psychology.
Okay.
Sorry, I was interrupted.
Hijacked!
Advice taken. So give me a couple of weeks to fix things up, and I'll put it up on the itch.
But you want to avoid. I think you do want to avoid like giving these things to press too early, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
I
lot-
think
a lot-
part of my worry is like giving it to press early, and then also I'm still looking for funding, and I don't know if like putting it out in like early access, as it were, is gonna affect any sort of future relationships with publishers or money people. If they're like, oh well, he's put it out and it's not. I don't know if maybe people don't like it, and they're like, oh well. I don't know. They're like, if that's not part of their plan of putting it out in early access, then I don't know.
Is
I
Frank
mean, maybe
here?
that's
Is Frank
a
here?
baseless worry, and I shouldn't
No,
worry
Frank
about
is
that.
not here. Okay.
I don't want to derail the discussion too much because it's interesting. Like, you're looking for money. How much money do you need? I don't have money. I do. We're all
excited.
we're all looking for money, right? So
Yeah,
There's a point, but yeah.
So like minimum, I'm not sure what it would be in NT, but like 160,000 pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's say 200,000 US dollar.
Yeah.
How much money do you burn each month? Not like one package, because like 200,000, that is what you calculate you need to finish the game, right?
Yes.
So okay, forget about that calculation. Give me the number of money you need every month to keep going. How much would that be?
I don't understand the difference.
Like, there is no difference. I just want to know, like, the 200,000 lasts you for how many years?
It's like 18 months. So
Okay.
that's me and freelance artists and
Right.
blah blah.
So here's the point.
I mean, I can continue working on this in my spare time indefinitely.
Right.
So,
So you don't necessarily need the money? Is that what you're saying?
at some point, I will need the money to pay the contractors for the art that I cannot do myself.
The point I'm trying to make is that you can absolutely sell an unfinished game, right? And a few people will buy it. You will not get 200,000 from launching it or early access, but you will get some amount of money. And if the game is any good and you keep working on it and you keep iterating on the feedback, at least that's my opinion, there is a fair chance that next month more people will buy it than the previous month, right? And so whatever your money is that you're looking for every month, your burn down money basically, there is a good chance that on early access you can hit that amount of money, and then you can go develop the game forever, right? That was what happened to us. When we launched early access, we were below that threshold, but then once the streamers picked it up and it became more known, and they took it and carried it out into the world, more people, enough people were buying the game every month that money was coming in, that enough money was coming in so that we could just continue paying our developers. As long as that money is coming in every month, we could go forever, right? So that is the alternative business model that I'm like proposing in a way, right? Because if you do that, you don't need a publisher. You don't have to give away your IP. You don't have to give away your revenue. You're truly indie if you do that. Right?
Yeah.
It's truly scary. So I would like to hear your opinion on that.
I agree with you mostly. I think if you have a bit of runway to begin with, I think in my situation that seems hard to me, because to create more content and keep the interest and to get those early access sales, I need to pay people to do art and things to make new stuff for people to play. I do not have the money to pay those people, and it's very unlikely that I would be able to generate enough money from sales to do that.
Right, so you're saying the
Like,
200,000 that you want, you would actually not spend them on yourself, but you would hire people for that money to help you finish.
I mean,
the
a
game.
large chunk of that, yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I had like, say, I don't know, 10, 20,000, that would give me enough of a like run up to generate or start generating content that I could then be updating the game with as I go. Like, there's like a little initial hump that
Right.
you need to get over to then. Does that make sense?
Yes, a lot
All of sense. I think everyone in this room knows about initial humps.
I may have a solution to your problem.
Ooh,
Sure.
this is getting exciting.
Okay, so we were
Do
using.
you have a checkbook?
Are you rich?
I'm not rich. Sorry again once more. However, what you can do is profit share, and it's not the most popular thing, but we did profit share. Our current artist is profit share, And we started off with a decent amount of profit share, and that really helped us. But you have to find someone that's very dedicated and passionate about your project.
Yeah, I want to pay people. Like not. I don't. That sounds very rude, actually. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I personally think profit share fine, but you need to pay them a base wage beforehand. I'm not going to ask someone to work for free on my game with a chance that there's no money at the end of it.
But the thing is, you're also working on this game with a chance there's no money at the end of it, and you're
yeah, but that's fine. I got contract work that I can pay my own bills with.
Yeah, I guess the bigger difference is that if you are going to contractors, then most of the contractors, basically, they expect to be paid upfront. I think this is a norm, right?
It's not contract.
People passionate.
It's a different kind of it's a contractor.
But I mean, if you met people who are actually really very enthusiastic about your project, and they're actually willing to like jump onto the ship with the idea that I may not get any money out of it, or maybe very less, instead of getting paid upfront, then basically I wouldn't like officially like say these guys are contractors. Basically they are on your ship. So they're basically partners.
Much like partners.
Yeah, they're basically partners. So there's another game that actually did something like this. Armello.
Oh yeah.
Oh, these guys are great. Yeah, so Armello actually have a formal， 就是 Armello 这款游戏它有一个正式的计点方式，就是说他把很多 contractor 找来，然后他就把他用正式的计点方式说，我做这件工作是多少点，我做这件工作多少点，然后他们到最后可以就是用这个公平的点数计算方式去最后来分钱，来分他们的 revenue。那可是我其实是有问过这个，因为他们其实有来过台湾，应该不止一次，然后我也在其他场合遇过他们。那他们的讲法是说，因为他们的游戏基本上其实是board game，然后数位化。那其实他们绝大部分的像游戏规则之类的东西，其实在纸上已经实验完了，然后他才说哦，我之后要数位化，所以我需要多少人去画什么100张卡牌，我要多少人去产生地图，所以我记得那时候我问过他是说，大概其实6-7成的游戏内容，在他真的做这个发包的动作之后，已经规划完了，而且后来改动很少。对 ，So I think my point is that there definitely are like sort of like successful stories from this kind of game that they have a very good revenue share system that actually is like you can see the spreadsheet how much is going to be paid to this person based on revenue share. They have a very formal system of it, but this is still like the only case I've heard about.
I mean, they also got a lot of money from indie funds, so.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if like that's upfront or like this later.
That might have been later, but.
Yeah.
Do they have to pay?
I think it's later because they started working with contractors before indie fund.
Okay.
I think because I know their indie fund announcement, but that's like only a very little time before they actually launch.
I think asking people to essentially work for free with maybe the promise of profit share later is. I mean, sure, if it works out, it's great for everyone, but I think it's hard to motivate people to work for free on your project, especially when it's like, this is my project. Like,
yeah.
It's hard. Like, if I was starting something and they had a chance to have a lot of input on it from early on, then maybe it would be different. But just asking someone to like, oh, hey, come do what I tell you on this thing, like, is hard. And like having asked people to do stuff for free previously, it's like, well, they might do it, you might have to poke them loads, and then you feel bad because they're, doing it for free, and, it's hard to get people's best work out of them. or get them to dedicate the time. I found any.
I wanted to say that, you know, with this is sort of getting into business strategy, right? And I think something we really need to keep in mind is that, you know, every game is different and things have been changing very quickly in this. I want to push back a little bit in the indie sphere. You know, like I think, you know, early access worked really well for Subnautica. What you guys did with Game of Lies worked really well, but yeah, you know, I'm on Discord. I'm in lots of groups of other developers, and you know, they have tried to like do their multiplayer shooter on early access or their other thing, and you see that the advice that worked like a year ago or even months ago doesn't necessarily work anymore. And you know, so I think that it's good to look at what you should go out there and look what other people have done and was successful to them, but you really have to be careful and see how things have changed and how your project is different. You know, different funding models are going to work better for different games. And I think with Ed's game, you know, if he just put it on early access right now, I would definitely predict that he's going to have the discoverability problem, number one. Nobody's going to even know that it's on early access. And the amount of money he's going to be able to generate is just not going to be enough to pay anything. And they say now, you know, once for a lot of gamers, your early access launch is your launch. And it can be really difficult to get, you know, I know, I'm not going to give any numbers, but I know a really successful game that just came out at the end of 2018, and yeah, they thought they were going to get a big bump, and they're a really well-known indie game, and they got a small fraction of the, you know, Steam front page attention that they did not that long ago when they did their early access launch. And this is a big game, you know, this is already, you know, you're going in as an indie is like doing a startup. You have to assume that like 1 in 10, I don't know what the numbers are going to fail, and that could be you. And if you only look at the successes and think, oh, by what they did, it's going to work, I think you're going to be disappointed. But I think that what I think personally, of course, I haven't launched better, so you know, take my advice with a big grain of salt. But I think the feedback thing, though, that's really important, because if you do want to do sharing, you know, getting artists involved, they need to be compassionate about your work. Nobody's going to be compassionate about it if they haven't seen it. And what I would do, if I were you, Ed, is go on Discord and do similar to what I did. Go join communities having to do with Japanese stuff, and there are a lot of them. I got some of my players from like anime groups that had nothing to do with space games, and you can talk to them individually. Because you got to start small. When you're trying to scale, you go and talk to them and say, hey, you want to check out this game? I can give you access to it. You don't even have to be on itch.io. You can give them a direct link. And from those people, you're going to get feedback. And because you gave them personal attention, they might say, hey, I can become your moderator. Or I can help talk to my friends that are really into this style of game. And they're going to get, it's not the same. From those people, you might find people that could become partners and work with you. And I think that's the way I would start. Sorry,
That's good advice. Yeah, I think the main problem, the main takeaway from this is that don't be afraid to actually, you know, give your game to people that you might not know beforehand.
Yeah. I mean,
guess-
showing your game is always good, and it's easy to forget that. Like taking it to events, or like today.
Yeah.
On my laptop, so if you want to have a look at my game later.
Yeah. Talk to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll try to explain this one part of like the wisdom that I get from other indies before in Mandarin. 所以就是其实蛮久以前，就是有蛮多美国的 indie 有讲过一个概念，是说，就是你在 Steam 上只需要卖给0%的玩家，你的游戏就可以，应该说，就是你的游戏只要卖给在 Steam 上0% 的玩家，你的游戏其实就有机会活得下来。那这个前提是因为，其实你独立游戏就算卖的再多，你的 coverage 通常也大概都是 Steam user 的0.几%而已。那这个数据的另外一个面向的意思是说，一定有这么多人他就是完全没有听过你的游戏，所以没有道理说哦，因为我怕我的游戏给别人看，所以我就故意什么都不讲，或者是说我怕可能有人会抄我的 idea， 或者说有人会 有人会觉得说我现在做的不好，他以后不想再跟我讲话之类的，就是理论上这种概念应该是不太存在的，就是你永远有新的人可以去讲，然后你永远有新的人可以去认识。那在销售上来说的话，就是其实你永远有新的销售对象，那只是问题是说一开始的那个最早的那一小撮人，你要怎么去找到？那可能他们可以帮你去做宣传，类似像这样的事情。对，所以 yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is that, you know, like the 0% analogy is that basically you can survive just by selling to 0% of the Steam user. You can actually still survive because there are so many players there, and also it also means that there are almost 100% of the players that just never heard of about your game before. So you should not be afraid of like, oh, my game's going to leak out there, and they will pirate it, or like they will copy my idea or things like that. Yeah. So, I guess that's actually a very long discussion about discoverability and like survivability, I guess. So, I guess I want to close down with I want just to do the closing with like a bit more casual question. So, can you guys tell the audience that maybe just one game? You can say I've been playing this game for maybe a couple of months in the past, or maybe 1 or 2 years in the past, and I think that game's good. You should check out the game, and why? Like just name one game and say something about it.
I may take the game that some others may be thinking about too, but Magic the Gathering Arena, I've been really enjoying.
Okay.
Sorry, folks. Magic the Gathering Arena, I've always been a big trading card game fan, so I played a lot of Hearthstone for years, and eventually, in high school, I used to play Magic the Gathering all the time with my friends, and apparently after playing Arena, a lot of our rules were wrong, that we thought they were, so we weren't really playing it the right way, apparently, but it was still fun, and now, their friend system isn't very good yet, but it'll get there, but it's very polished, like, every single button will have like a cool animation around it, and even when you're hovering over cards, there'll be like a separate subtle sound hovering over all of them. They all have a separate like sound effect when you play it. Just something's really satisfying about it whenever you play a card, or even just at the beginning of the match, or over time when you have your set, you can browse your whole set, sort of like Hearthstone, and look at it in awe. There's something about it where I played the previous Magic the Gathering onlines where it was like Duel of the Planeswalkers, and I wasn't a fan. It was okay for maybe like a week for me, and then after that I'm a bit bored. And you have limited cards, but here they try to copy the experience of like as if you're just playing on like a real tabletop. Like they'll even for those familiar with instant cards, you can even pause like there's a little pause in between to play your instant cards each time, which when you start it can be a little bit annoying, but you get used to it fast. It's overall I've really been enjoying it.
Okay. So you think like most of the aspect you say about this game is like better than the same aspect in Hearthstone, right?
Yeah, I like them both, but right now I currently like Magic the Gathering Arena. It's maybe it's just a change of pace because I've been playing Hearthstone for years, or maybe it's high school nostalgia.
Okay.
Okay.
Jonas.
I'll skip for now.
Don't say Subnautica, man.
I don't even like that game.
It's true too.
I'm gonna say Breath of the Wild because it's the best.
Oh, Breath of the Wild.
Which one?
Breath of the Wild, Zelda.
Oh.
I'm like, I've been playing that game since it came out in like small bursts. Like since moving to Taiwan, I only got a PlayStation 4 yesterday after I had to sell my UK one because it wouldn't work here. So I have been sustaining myself on collecting all the little tree guys. I got like I got like 700 out of 900, and it's getting difficult now. But I just love that world. Like it's still after like, oh man, I don't even know how many hours I've played. Maybe like 600 hours or something. Like I still just love running around and doing stuff in that game. It's cool.
I can totally imagine that. Yeah, how about Fernando?
Well, yeah, I played that game a lot too, and I love it. But another Nintendo game, I would say Super Smash Brothers. I've been playing a lot of that. Play it with my brother-in-law, who's ex-Marine, and makes us do push-ups whenever we lose. So if you don't want to lose, yeah, 20 push-ups or 20 squats, and you're real sore the next day if you lose a lot. And that game actually influenced Hunternet a lot. Not this one, but the older ones. And I thought, well, Nintendo's cute. I like cute. So that's like my Kirby flying multiplayer shooter idea. But I learned that only Nintendo is really good doing cute, but it's really hard to do it yourself. But even till today, if you play Hunternet, the space version, there's abilities in there that were influenced by Smash Brothers. In particular, in Smash Brothers, you have the omnidirectional shields, and in Hunternet, you have an absorb shield and a repel shield.
Yeah, I can definitely see
omnidirectional.
that now because like there are like 50 or 100 different items in Smash Brothers that each character can use, and basically you sort of like internalize that into like the system you need to put onto the ship like before battle.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, and there's also when I made Hunternet, especially when I was going the space direction, I played one of the first games I bought was X-Wing for DOS back in like 1993, and in my opinion, and I play a lot of flight simulators. So that's probably the game I'm the best at is IL-2 Stormovik, and
Oh my god, yes.
and space games are just not. They don't have the depth of a flight simulator because they're missing gravity, and you don't have energy fighting. The flight models just don't make sense. And Smash Brothers, so if you play Hunternet today, you'll notice that you can tell that I took some ideas from fighting games and mixed them into space combat to create a space combat game that, just like a good fighting game, can be fun, 1 versus 1 in an empty rectangle, or in this case, empty cube. So yeah, Smash Brothers has been a huge inspiration, and it's still one of my favorite games.
Very interesting. Two games that I enjoyed last year was one is a ROM hack of the original Zelda Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. So apparently there are people out there who you can play the original Zelda Link to the Past on an emulator, right? Everyone does that. But apparently there are clever people out there who have figured out how to hack the ROM of Zelda and just make a completely new Zelda game with the original Link to the Past, graphics and music, and just the world is different and the story is different and the dungeons are different, right? And they are actually good. I was very surprised by the level of polish. It's not Nintendo level of polish, but it's incredibly good.
Do you know which ROM? I assume there are like many ROM hacks.
Oh, which one? Parallel Worlds.
Parallel Worlds.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, that one. I enjoyed that greatly because I love the original so much, and I think I've played the original like 4 or 5 times. And the other game that I've enjoyed greatly this year was Factorio.
Oh, Factorio.
Especially with friends, because there are not too many like base building or economy building games out there that are multiplayer, and I kind of like Farm Simulator or something. Like Factorio just provides a very chill like thing to do while you hang out with your friends and you just chat in Discord and you build up your factory a little bit, but it can also be like super intense and challenging. If you haven't heard about the game, it's phenomenal. And they are in early access, I believe. They've been working on it for many years. It's a very small studio in Eastern Europe, and
They actually came to Taipei Game Show
oh, they did.
like 2017, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like their first game show ever was actually in Taipei Game Show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you personally meet them?
Yeah, I talked to them. And,
Are they nice?
Yeah, they're really nice.
Can you introduce me to them?
Yeah, actually, we also have an indie developer that is like super fan of Factorio, and like he went on to like take pictures with them and like talk like at length about the game with the developers. I think they actually got a very good experience out of the Taipei Game Show. Yeah. Yeah, 所以 Factorio, okay. So actually we have been running for like 90 minutes, so I guess it's a good time to like call it, and if people want to talk to you guys later, or if you want to showcase anything, just hang around and just talk to people. And yeah, so that's about it. 所以我们今天的座谈其实到现在已经东谈西谈已经讲了90分钟左右，那我觉得就是跟大家注意力的涣散。我想就是到这边告一段落。那如果大家有各自单独的问题想要来前面问的话，那就是随时请大家等一下，我们还会开到5点多，就是这时间都可以用这样。那我们先简短休息一下。那等一下有2位在场的朋友，他们可能想要借用前面的投影机来秀一下他们想要介绍的东西。好，那我们就大概花个10分钟上个厕所，然后大家可以喝个茶这样子。好，那先感谢今天大家的参与。
I would like to ask if anyone brought their game here. I would like to see it.
Yeah, I just talked about it. So there will be 2 people actually
From the audience.
Yeah,
Oh, cool,
and
cool.
come out and they'll actually show the game.
Cool.
对，所以如果你有任何作品想要秀，你要给前面的座谈语谈人看，还是说你要就是秀给其他朋友，就是都随意这样。好，那就请大家掌声鼓励这次的语谈人这样子。